Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry. This is Blue. This is Monday Quilt Chat. This is where we sit down and talk about all the quilty things in my world and in the quilt world in general. You already bored? Am I that boring? Oh my goodness, you better take a nap then. Okay, lay down. Lay down, buddy. So, this weekend, I left you on Friday after a great quilt show. I didn't mention anything about what I was going to do this weekend, but I kind of knew what I was probably going to be doing, and that is the Twizzle. And you saw my one block Friday that I had finished, and now I have 4 blocks done. Here is one. Now this one I have taken the papers out of and starched and trimmed, and it trimmed up to a nice 12 by 12. I think this will go in the corner right here like this, I believe. So there are 4 equal blocks times 4, so 16 total. So my block, this is block number 1. I have to make 4 of those. Got those done. So now I have to go into block number 2. Very similar, just a different configuration on the colors, and then I've added in some other pinks and greens and teals on those. So I will be working on those some this week. I made a mistake on this one. I think I had to take out 2 seams and redo it. That's why the paper is out, because I thought it would be easier to fix that without the papers. And then once I got it all fixed up, back the way it was supposed to be, then I starched it and trimmed it. So nice flat block, very nice and flat. So I'm happy with how this is coming out. Very happy with that. I did a bunch more of these in between the speedy blocks. I wished I would have called these 5 and dime blocks. Wouldn't that have been cute? 5-inch, 10-inch, 5 and dime blocks. Should I change the name? I don't know if I will at this point. So I have 35, I'm looking at the board over there, I have 35 total finished. I think I want to make it a little bit bigger, and Lord knows I have enough 10s and 5s to do it. So I will continue on with that. I didn't work on anything else this weekend, but I need to get into my other projects this week and just kind of, you know, I need to take it slow on this one. I'm not in any big race to get that done, but I'm having fun with it. I like it. It's not frustrating or too difficult. It's kind of an easier, if you ask me, it's kind of an easier version of a foundation paper pieced quilt. I don't know, it's called intermediate, but I feel like it's pretty simple. Once you get those, you know, set patterns in your brain, you can just kind of go through and put them together. So that's what I've been working on, and it's quite a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it very much. Let's see, what else do I have to report? Oh, Mark's quilt is his quilt top is almost finished. Today, this is Sunday, he's putting on the outer borders, and there'll be just a 2-inch border that goes same size as the sashings that he put in. He did really well with everything. It's very accurate, and it's a very square quilt. I mean, it's rectangular, but it's, you know, it's not like your typical, this is my first quilt and everything's wonky. He was pretty dead set on getting it straight and square, and he was not beyond getting the seam ripper out to make things right. I think he even did that, actually I know he did, on one of his long horizontal sashings. It just came out a 1/4 inch too long on the end, so he ripped it all out. I wasn't in the house when he was doing that, but I probably would have helped him fudge that in just right at the end, but he had taken it all out. But I gave him some more tips on how to get that to come out right, and we got him done. He got him done. So borders today, and he's finished with the quilt top. So I'll have some version of finished on his quilt for Finish It Friday. So hang on for that. Come back on Friday and see Mark's quilt. It turned out quite nice, quite nice. I like it. and he was able to use some fabric from his late mother's stash that we recently acquired, and he's thinking about gifting it to a family member. So kind of cool, isn't it? He's in it. He's deep in it. We also ordered him some tools that he needed that were different from what I like to use. He would rather have a white mat, so I got the Fisker's mat that's white on one side and gray on the other. So he'll be able to see well with that. He has some vision issues, and so I mean, who of us don't at this age? But his are a little more deep than ours, most of us. Also, he wanted an aunt light that had the magnifier on it, and he wanted clear rulers. So we got 2 Creative Grids rulers for him, and so of course he paid for that, and you know, and he didn't think it was bad at all to spend that much for what he got, and that's all good. That's all good. So he's learning everything about sewing and quilting. Is you got to have the right tools for the job. Oh, and a new pair of snips. He didn't like any of the snips I had, so we got him a new pair of snips for thread cutting. And yeah, he's got the quilting bug real bad. He is looking into EQ8 a little bit and trying to recreate a printed pattern, just to kind of make himself get familiarized with it. I'm not sure that that's the way to go. It's something that I suggested might get him into more about quilt construction and how to design patterns, but I will be strongly involved in that process of designing patterns when we get to it. So it's going to be a little bit of a process, but maybe by the middle of this year we'll have something to share with you that you can sew up also. So hang on for all of that. I have some recent acquisitions. Of course, I have the Sew Sampler box. If you've already seen an unboxing of it, you can just skip ahead a little bit, but I'll show you what's in here. It's called Cut to the Good Stuff. There's a really cute pattern in here for 15% off of Lori Holt's bee plaids, and that is to be able to make this. Well, I mean, you can get the 15% off bee plaids no matter what with the code. So there's that, and then there's an alternate pattern for what is in here. Let me show you what is in here. We have a roll of fabric. It's Junior Peace and Plenty 10-inch stacker. This is by Lori Holt. $22.48 is what this would cost normally. We also got a Frixion pen, erasable. It's a $2.98 value. We got, this is a really good one, an Olfa cutter, like the real Olfa cutter. And this is a color that's only in the Sew Sampler boxes. So I think there's a few boxes out there. You can go to Fat Quarter Shop online and order a box, and you will get this cutter. So this beautiful coral color is only in the Sew Sampler box, is what I've been told. $32.98 for this cutter. So there's less items in the box this month, but they are quality items. And then of course there's a pattern in here for, what did I do with it? Here it is. There's a pattern for the fabric roll that they gave us. It's called Cheerful. It looks like that. Cute. I might actually make this. I know I said that before, but I kind of like that with this Lori Holt. Kind of like it. I think that might be something too I'm going to get Mark to do, is do a printed pattern. You know, we've just been doing 9 patches. You don't need a pattern for that. I think I'm going to get him to do a simple pattern himself. Maybe out of one of the Sew Sampler boxes. that we have and see how he goes with that, because he's very he's got very good comprehension, and he can read things and comprehend as well as being shown, whereas I really kind of need to be shown. I had to learn how to read these and be able to get by. Here's the Peaceful Baskets pattern for this month as well. This is about over with. This means I got 2 to do now, so I got to get that going. That is the box. That is the box for this month. That was February's box. Today's March the 3rd, so I'm plenty outside of the required date to show that. I also got some things from Green Fairy Quilts. Let me see if I can find my little invoice thing here. Oh, I told you last week I probably wasn't going to be able to show you the yardage that I got from Fat Quarters for my background. It's called Songbird. It's a confetti Riley Blake solid. It's called Songbird. That's what I got. It was $7.98 a yard from Fat Quarter Shop, and I got 3 yards of that. And then from Green Fairy Quilts, I got a couple things. This is the Blush and Butterscotch, which is, should I open that? I think I should, because I can't really show it to you not opened. Sorry about the crinkly paper. Here it is. Look at all those blush mauve colors, and then butterscotch, blush and butterscotch. And then I also got a piece of yardage for borders and such out of this one right here. Isn't that pretty? Isn't it delicate? This was $60, and then my yardage was 12, and I got 2 yards of it. So this was $84. So this is going to be a special project in the future. And then I also got some on sale from them that I thought the prices were excellent. This one is called Mansfield Park by Riley Blake. The Riley Blake designers. That means all of their designers got together and designed this line. And this is like the Jane Austen stuff. Mansfield Park. Very vintagey looking. Love it. That one was $38. Not bad, right? And that is how many? Trying to see how many are on here. 19 pieces. So that's a good deal. And then I also got this Midnight Meadow by My Mind's Eye, and it was $40. So it's black and whites, but the whites are just a little bit on the creamy side. And this also is this is a 20 pieces on that one. All sorts of different flowers, small prints, in the darks and the lights. So that will be a nice project for a future pattern. And that was $40. Okay, so that is my recent acquisitions. I don't think there's anything else that I got this past week. Now, March, I designated for myself as a no-buy month. Any of you are willing to support me in that by doing it yourself as well. I know some of you are doing a whole year no-buy, so I know you're with me. No pressure. It's not mandated by anyone, anywhere to do a no buy month, but I'm going to do that for myself. I do have a couple of things still on the way. I had to order a roll of batting because I was getting down to the end of my batting, so I had to get that. And then I have a couple of things coming from Quilting a Day. I'll share those. I'll probably have those next Monday, and I'll share those with you. And then that'll be it for recent acquisitions for a while. Now, another thing that I have to do with you is the Connecting Threads catalog. Some of you may have this already. If you don't, I will share some of the goodies in here. I do have a link in my description box if you want to use it to buy anything from this catalog or anything Connecting Threads offers. Feel free. If you forget, don't worry about it. I don't care. So let's see here. There's something called Meadow Daydreams, and I think it's very pretty. It's a new Connecting Threads original, so this is from them. Isn't that pretty? Let me show you the quilts that they've done in it. If you like lavenders and purples, this is your fabric. I like that one that's on the wall in the back, don't you? Very pretty. The table runner is cute too with the tulips. I think they're calling it Petalicious. Very pretty. Here's some more in it. They do make up a lot of quilts in it, and their kits are very economical. If you just would rather buy a kit already, you know, the yardage is already there with the pattern and the background, that's a way to do it. I think I showed you that one last time. They have their own Cheddar Blues line. I may have showed you that before too. But you know how I have this Cheddar Twilight that I'm going to do something in eventually? There's about 3 lines out like that now. And this is one of them, Cheddar. Oh, here's some pretty, look at this one. Now that's interesting. Is that a kit? Birds of a Feather Quilt Kit. Kit with pattern, $117.99. Or you can just download the pattern, and that's $12.50, and make it up in something else. That's quite, I kind of like that. I would make that. I know it's kind of modernish, but I like it. Birds of a Feather Quilt Kit. Alright. And then, of course, they have their coordinating basics and blenders for all of their lines. Here's Peace and Plenty by Lori Holt in here. They're selling it for, okay, $11.40 a yard. That's cheaper than Soya. Several patterns here. The patterns, Vintage Dishes here is one of her patterns that she's made it up in. Peace and Plenty, wasn't that what was in the Sew Sampler box? This Red Delicious, I've been so tempted to buy this. You know, I made that red and white quilt here a couple years ago. And I was done with red and white for a while, but I've admired this line. It's been out for a little while. It's by Riley Blake as well, Red Delicious. Sanctuary by Tilda is in here, and it is selling for $15.96 a yard. I think that's probably about as cheap as you're going to find it anywhere. And I've been eyeing this pattern in it. I'm thinking about making this up in my, I have Sanctuary by Tilda. So I'm thinking about making that pattern up right there with the birds. The paper bird quilt is what it's called. So it kind of has a Japanese spin on it. March is National Quilting Month. So if you all just watch for entertainment and you've not quilted before, maybe this is the month to start a little project. This oak and maple caught my eye as well. I think I ordered from Quilting a Day. I got Kim Deal's scrap basket line. I got a big bunch of that. best-selling kits. There's all kinds of kits in here. The batting page. They have faux linen tonals for a blender. It's a very soft blender. More kits. Flannel, wide backs, $21.96 a yard. I find that my wide backs are best bought from Marshall Dry Goods. They have the best prices if you ask me. They have their own thread as well. My machine likes it fine. And I never did hear if any of you are using their cuddle, their minky called Floofy. I don't think any of you have tried it yet. You haven't told me anyway. Alright, and then also, these two magazines seem to come on the same day or close to it. I have the American Patchwork and Quilting, so I'll run through it. I love this. Isn't that pretty? I think they've made it up in 1930s fabric. New 1930s. I'll see what that's called here in just a second. Oh, I wanted to make mention of this. This is a panel by Minky Kim, Sunset Ridge. The I Sew panel quilt pattern by the RBD Designers is available as a kit in a beautiful keepsake box. I liked this. I really like that. And I think it comes out April 2025. So be looking for that. You can get it as a free pattern download as well as in a keepsake box like a kit. The Jim Tones Sew Along is still going on. This is a block of the month in this magazine. There's an article on free motion quilting on your domestic. Here is a pattern. Sea Sky. I like the quilting on that. Sea and Sky is what it's called. Retro Stars. Now this, I had to look a long time. I thought that really was a retro, like a really, you know, an old quilt, and see the prairie points all around. It looks very used, doesn't it? But this is a newly made quilt. So there's a pattern in here for that. They used muslin. I think that's how they got it to look crinkly like that around those stars. Storybook charm. Little wall hanging. Scrubs. Do you know any nurses? I bet you do. Looks pretty easy, but there's a lot of pieces to that. And then you see the stethoscopes around the neck? That's applique. And the pattern's in here to do it. The applique and the quilt. Here's what I mean by a whole bunch of little pieces. Those sleeves. I remember doing the Millie's dresses. Did you all do the Millie's dresses? The Lori Hope pattern? Or was it a It's So Emma pattern? I'm not sure. Here's this one. It's called Spring Beauty. That's the one that's on the cover. And I just wanted to verify if that was 1930s fabric. Fabrics are from the Blast from the Past collection by Darlene Zimmerman for Robert Kaufman Fabrics. But if you look at them up close, they are definitely 1930s prints. Reproduction prints. Here's one called Lattice View. Looks like it's maybe made up in Batiks or maybe K Facet. Here's what that one looks like. It was kind of hard to see the way they had it folded across. Here's one called Flower Farm. Wanted to see what that fabric was. I like the color combo, the teals and the burgundies. Two of my favorite colors. The fabrics are from the Woolly Whims collection by Lamb Farm Designs for Marcus Fabrics. It's not flannel though, even though it says Woolly Whims. I don't think. Dresden Daisies. Now I've never seen anybody do anything different with a Dresden plate. But you can see how they knocked some of them out and that made a really cool flower. That gets the creative juices flowing, doesn't it? Here's the whole thing. It's very cute. I think that might be it for this magazine. Yes. Alright, so I love this magazine, American Patchwork and Quilting. I've gotten it for years and years and years. And the handful of times that I've canceled it, I wished I hadn't, and I go back and I get it again. So I'm just getting it all into eternity if I can. Alright, that is all of the showing of the magazines. Let's see, what else do I need to show you? Oh, I want to talk about Wednesday's video that I'm going to do. We are going to do a Jolly Bar pattern. It's called, this is in the Jolly Bar book volume 2, if you have it. If you don't, you can probably download it from Fat Quarter Shop, buy it and download it. I don't know if this particular pattern is a separate pattern you can get, but it's called Climbing Roses Quilt, and it looks like this. And you might think, well, that just doesn't look all that interesting. But it's easy. But I want to show you what I'm going to use, and it's going to be an exercise in design with color. So it's not just going to be a bunch of colors and white background. What I'm going to do is use a couple of, you need 2 Jolly Bars. A Jolly Bar is a 5 by 10. You can cut 5 by 10s from yardage, but you're going to need 56 of one and 4 of another. There's 2 groups, so that's why I need 2 Jolly Bars. I'm going to use a layer cake, which I can cut right in half. So this is Midnight Garden, and I am also going to use this and cut these in half to make them 5 by 6. This is what it is. Instead of using a white between those, I'm going to use these. How in the world am I going to do that? Come over on Wednesday and I'll show you. I'll show you how it's going to be done, and I think it's going to be lovely. And it's going to be quick too, because it's not that big. It's 54.5 by 68. So remember, you need 65 by 10s, or you need 2 Jolly Bars, or you need yardage, 5 by 10 yardage. Let's see. It's asking you to use 2 solid charm packs, and that's when I'm going to use this, because this is not even a full layer cake. But if I cut this in 4, I'll have enough. You can just use a plain color if you want. But I'm going to show you how to use this variety of the same color family to do this part right here, this white part. It's an experiment, but I think it's going to look good. So be thinking about what you have and what you might want to do along with me on that. It'll be a really quick one to do. Let's see, what else do we have? We have our art quilt of the week. Oh my goodness. I will put a picture of that right here. This one is called Celebrate. Celebrate is a 107 by 107 quilt. It says it's by Clem Busick and Beth Neufer of Fargo, North Dakota. It says, working together, Clem and Beth created this quilt. Beth designed the quilt on graph paper and used color to try to achieve Clem's vision. Some hand needle turn applique was used, as well as machine piecing and hand-guided long arm quilting. The most exciting part of the project for Clem is that Beth created it for her, and that she now gets to keep this wonderful collaboration between friends. The quilt has been shown in Road to California, PIQF, and AQS Quilt Week Daytona Beach. Wow, wouldn't you like to get inside their heads when they were talking about this, or be a fly on the wall? These tiny, those have to be pretty small squares, 107, and I think I counted there's 19 across and like 24 down. So do the math. Those are very small squares. They're probably around 4-ish, I would say. And then within that, they have the kind of rounded ones with the diamonds, the bigger ones. They made an area where there were some bigger rounded ones floating around in there. And then they repeated that design in the border. So this is quite a work of art, and lots of quilting on it. 107 by 107, huge for one thing, and I can't imagine how long this must have taken to put together, but it is a two-man job, this one. So there we go. I was able to get Jeannie's book out to her, and she has received it. And I hope she's going to enjoy that. I think she will. I haven't been back to the P.O. Box yet this week. I'll go on Wednesday and pick up the rest of the Blues Batiks and see if we can get the rest of our states filled in. We'll see. I've had contact with some people that are promising, so we'll see how far we get on that. If you're from a state that's already mailed in, then you might want to just hold off for a little bit, because I'm getting quite the stack, and I don't think that I need any more. If I do, I will be definitely letting you know and make that call out again for more blocks. But I'll probably have a couple of quilts to quilt up with all of those, so that's good. I have a few left over from the last one that we did, and possibly I could combine them in some way for a third quilt or something like that, and then start over fresh again the beginning of next year with another distinct block that I can ask for. It's a fun thing we do for the Humane Society, something we can do to work on our quilt health with by giving, and that's one of those points, and also enjoying what we're doing. So let's get into our project boxes this week. Find a project box that you have not touched for a while, whether it be a work in progress or one of those UFOs. It happens. Or maybe you just need to empty. You know what I need to do? I need to empty some boxes that have leftover fabric from other projects. That's what I need to do. And I'm going to keep working on Twizzle and all the other projects that I have going on all the time. All right, come back on Wednesday for that Jolly Bar quilt, and hopefully you can look through your stash and your pre-cuts or whatever you have and come up with something that will work for that project. I think it'll go by really fast. Make a nice donation quilt or a back of the couch quilt, something like that, and a pretty one too. All right, thank you for tuning in. I've enjoyed my time chatting with you as always. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure that the subscribe button doesn't show up anywhere on your screen. If it does, touch it and then hit the black bell button to make sure you get notified of all the videos that I make that come out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week. All right, it's been nice talking to you, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.